And welcome to today's product updates webinar here at Inside Real Estate. I'm Ryan. We have Susan here with us from the product team. I think you're on a product team. Something like that. I think Susan's muted.
Anyway, team. I lost my mute. I'm back over on the ops team now, but
okay.
I still working very tightly with the product team still.
Yeah, I generally need somebody like you here who can remind me about the things I've forgotten, because I've probably forgotten more about KV Core and what it can do than I actually use and know, which I think is a common thing for a lot of people. You know, there's so much functionality baked into this thing, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing these webinars every Wednesday at 3 p.m. East, is to kind of show you guys recent updates, anything that might have been added in the past few weeks, and then dive deep into some maybe existing features and functionality that you weren't aware of. Just a little more housekeeping. Feel free to chat in the box. We already have a questionnaire in the chat. The landing page history is coming. I'll answer that person. Susan may know a little better on the date, but I do know that is en route.
We hit a snag. It was coming like in the next couple of weeks. So I think that we're probably pushing that out to, with the holiday next week and everything, I'm thinking probably early December now.
Okay. Hey, Alex, that was Alex. Great. And then, so what we have for today is a couple of things around listing status and property type. The playbooks are live, so these two things are ready to go. Then we'll talk a little bit about area pages and embeds, some existing functionality, and we'll do some Q&A with you guys. And as I mentioned before, all the replays are on the YouTube channel. So we always get a lot of questions about replays. That's where they are. So Susan, let's start right off with this one up top that you just kind of reminded me about, listing status and property type. Do you want to talk quickly about what that is and tell me where to go?
So let's go look at squeeze pages first. And one thing that you have to have set up, I'm going to guess that you have it set up, but if you have your geo polygon areas set up in your web and IDX settings, then you're going to be able to go to your squeeze pages, and you're going to be able to say, I want to build a multi-property page based on status and listing type. So if I want to find, I don't know, what's, like I want to find, yeah, I want to make sure I show all of the pending townhomes in my area. I can do that now because we've broken out pending from the type. So pending and contingent and all of those are going to be your types.
Okay. You mentioned setting up the geo settings. Where are those at? Just to make sure.
So let's see, you've got use polygons. You should have it.
Am I scrolling too fast? This is under website settings, everybody. So I have my polygons for neighborhoods and schools set.
Go to your website. Let's see if it's working on your website.
Okay.
Suzanne asked, any chance we could send coming soon? That really depends on your MLS. Some of the MLSs send us coming soon data, and some do not. And you have to put those listings in as manual listings if your MLS does not share those with us. So it really just depends on the status that they're willing to share with us.
And I'm going to the map search.
There, you got it. So you've got property. Did you see it right there on that last screen? You have statuses separate from in your search screen.
Okay. Just going back. So I hit more filters. So this is what we're talking about. The statuses are separate from, this wasn't always here.
Right. So I can say now it's more, I can say only want to see the active listings. Don't show me anything that's pending.
Right. And I had,
you only have active set up right now. So if you have more of those types set in your web and IDX settings, and your MLS is sending, like you've got, what is that over there? You've got pending set.
Yeah, I just checked that out.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's the use here? It's if we want to show pendings or we don't want to show pendings.
It's so that I can remove, and I don't have to right now. If I want to see all of the active townhomes that are in the system, I can't really do that. I can tell it to find all the townhomes, but if there was a pending townhome, it was showing pending. And this is for any type. So pending and contingent would override the type of listing that it was. So you could never really show a full listing of here's everything in my market that is single family or whatever type.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good to know. I know that was a feature request from a number of people, right? That's probably why we did
Right.
it.
It's been a hot topic for a while, and we were able to split it out a lot easier than we thought we would be able to.
Okay. So that's live for those of you who this is relevant for. You know, this highlights the fact that we're in so many MLSs around North America that this might mean nothing to some of you guys, but for the people who this matters to, just know that it's live now, right? So the ability to choose active pending. I know that there's back on market active with contracts. Sometimes the MLSs are sending that data over as well as solds, right? Aren't we starting to pipe solds into the IDX data, Susan?
If we can get the IDX data of sold, but just about every MLS says you have to show IDX data or sold data separately from active data. So if you had sold data, you would see it. I think it's underneath the little icons of single family, condo, land. I think there's a little box there that, or a little button, radio button, where you can say sold data, yes or no. Okay. And then it'll take you to a spot so that you don't see any active listings, because we can't display it on the same page. And that is 99% of the MLSs say you can't do that.
They're trying to do their normal thing where they hold on to some power, but all they're doing is hurting us. So this is my opinion, not the company's opinion, but they're just hurting their members by limiting what they can do versus some of the big portal sites. Oh, I couldn't hold that one in, Susan. I had to say
that's all right. I think being on your soapbox is fantastic sometimes for these. So.
All right. So listing status and property type, that feature is there. The other thing is Playbooks. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. We've been kind of mentioning this on these webinars and elsewhere. Those are live now, right, Susan? The Gather Your Sphere and Work Your Sphere playbook.
Sphere playbooks. Oh, and there's another feature I just found out today that's coming within the next week or so, and that is when you export your leads, into labels, then you're going to be able to pull spouses automatically. And I know that's been a hot topic that people have been asking for as well. Cool. Not to get off of the playbooks, because those are really, really awesome too. And yes, they are live now.
So we don't need to go deep on playbooks. We spent a whole hour on those a couple of weeks ago. That replay is on the YouTube channel. But just know that you can do this Gather Your Sphere and Work Your Sphere playbook right here from the dashboard now. And then we also have a separate playbooks navigation in the item in the navigation menu at the top left here, where you can access those. And then what Susan was just mentioning was the labels, which I believe are under Smart CRM.
Smart CRM, and then you go and select everybody.
Yeah. So I'll just select the group. More actions, right?
Yep. And then print address labels, and it exports to a Avery label.
Yeah, it'll export to a 5160. I'm in our admin view, so I can only see 10 at a time. So none of these had addresses, but what it'll do is it'll just export those out into Avery, and it'll grab the spouse now. I assume it'll say like Ryan and Michelle Hartman or something like that.
I believe, I'll have to get a test for you. I believe it'll probably say Ryan Hartman and Michelle Hartman. I don't think that it has the logic to know that you both have the same last name, so we should put it to Ryan and Michelle.
That makes sense. And a lot of times now people don't have the same last name. So
right.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah. But they'll both be
so
on the
link. I think that it'll pull, but it's going to pull from that field. It's just going to see that, yep, there's something in that field, and it'll put an and spouse, right? So it'll put the spouse's name. So that'll be good.
Cool. I was trying to bring up
just in time for Christmas cards or holiday cards or New Year's cards or whatever you send out.
Yeah. So I'm just hitting the print address labels again. So it found 3 this time. Export. It should open a PDF file here. It downloads it to my computer, just for people who haven't seen this yet. And then it'll have the name of the spouse, husband and wife, or the spouses up here.
Evelyn asked if there's a way we can print entire campaign. Right now, you can't print a campaign out. I don't know if there's even a good view there. And then Will asked, I've been putting it Ryan and Michelle in the first name column. Will that work? So as long as you put Ryan and Michelle and then Hartman in the last name, it's still going to work the same, because I assume you're not also putting Michelle in as the spouse in the spouse field.
Yeah.
And so as long as you've got Ryan and Michelle in the first name and you're not adding a spouse to it, then yeah, that's still going to work just fine.
And then on the other question about printing out the campaign, the best you can probably do is just print this view, but you're not going to get much further on that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of improvements to campaigns planned. And maybe I'll make sure that Xander and team know about that suggestion. It's a good idea, just to be able to kind of see the
It's
touches.
just easier to plan things out sometimes on paper. So I get that. And that's exactly what Evelyn says. It's easier to see the printout with the flow of the text, the tasks, the emails.
Yeah. Hello, Kathy from South Jersey. Where in South Jersey? I'm a South Central Jersey boy myself. All right, let's keep going. So those are the new things, and that's what we'll typically do on these webinars. We'll just talk about anything that's coming up, keep you guys plugged in. Definitely share the news around with your team. We realize not everybody can make it to these webinars every week. So, if there's some of these features you're seeing that you and your team have been waiting for, definitely let everybody else know. Yeah, Mays Landing's way down there. I'm Ocean County. So deep dive. Let's now dive into a feature that has been around a long time, but I don't think a lot of people know about. They're always surprised when they know this exists. I'm going to dive to that, but let's answer these first two questions here. Heather's asked some campaign sharing tokens. Once shared and you have an additional time, will the same token work? The token will work, but it won't regressively go back and add that template to an old campaign that was shared. Does that make sense? I'm pretty sure that's right, Susan? The token will still copy everything that's in that campaign at that moment.
It will at that moment. So if I go in and I take Ryan's shared template and I upload that today, and then Ryan goes in and adds a bunch of things tonight, I would have to. You
have to pull it again.
Re-import it. Yeah, I'd have to redo it again. So I don't get those live updates. I think that's what Heather's.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So no retroactive changes. Correct. And once you take that campaign into your system, you can make all the changes you want, and it doesn't affect anybody else.
Yep. Chris is asking about new landing page customization updates. I know we've been talking about this forever. It keeps getting pushed. I don't know if there's an ETA. The only thing I always say when that comes up, it's not ideal, but you are free to use any third-party landing page generators and zap the leads in. I know you know that, Chris, but yeah, the answer is I'm not sure if anything's coming. Do you know, Susan?
For landing pages, the only updates that I know that we're doing is right now, like currently within the next month, is that we're going to give you landing page history. Yeah. And we do hear it a lot that will the landing page capture the lead name, and Ryan can really talk to this, that the more info we ask for, the less chance we're going to capture that lead, right?
Yeah, but now that I'm remembering, I was asked by the product team to talk about that recently, and I know they're planning to actually add the name. It's a big one that is asked for a lot. And also, yeah. I suggested that we make the cell number, give everybody some context here, but that we make the cell number not only optional, but allow the removal of this field totally. So it's not optional or required. And allow all the fields to kind of, except for the email, to be on and off. So there is some light customizations planned, but I don't know a timeline.
Yeah, I don't think before the end of the year that those will come. But one thing to keep in mind, Anthony, is that it may not capture the lead, but we go through and do a lead verification. And based on the email that they send, we go out and find any name that's associated with it so that it imports or validates and has your name added in there. So you shouldn't really ever have a lead that doesn't have a name.
Yeah. And if you're sending the right stuff, I prefer to only get the email, because if you're following up with good stuff, you're setting up for alerts and you're sending valuable content from week to week, a deal of the week or something cool to engage. Eventually they're going to reply and you're going to get the name in their reply. But I get the spirit of that question. You want to be able to kind of merge the name in and personalize emails. So definitely makes sense. Okay, well, let's take a look at the area pages for our deep dive section today. And I have area pages and embeds, because in my head, I kind of use them together a lot. So, and they're found in a similar place. So let's start by just looking at an example of one of these area pages. And this is one that I've tricked out with a little extra HTML up top. I have a video and one of our embeds in it. But a lot of people don't realize that you actually have a page for every zip code, city, and a lot of neighborhoods, depending on how your MLS sends the data over, that are in your MLS. And these pages will give you a most popular, most expensive, least expensive home up top here. It's pretty interesting stuff. It'll give you links. All of this is linkable to all the new all the listings in the area, all the new reduced open house and so on. You get some stats here. You get a market health graph, a little bit of and then you get some related kind of area links right here. And the way to create these, there's a few ways to go about it, but for me, my money, the easiest thing to do is to just go to the URL up top. I realize this is small for a lot of you guys, but if you go to your KV Core website, you add /areas and then / the city, the neighborhood, or a zip code. So I'll do that here. I'll add a zip code. The page is instantly there and dynamically generated, like so. So, and then I happen to, I happen to have the same embed on that area, but here's one without my embed up top. This is what it'll look like before you put stuff on it. So to me, these are really useful, and I'll show you how to kind of customize them. These are really useful in a number of ways. You can add these to your drip campaigns. It's always the same link. So you could almost have a weekly email going out in your drip campaign that says, hey, here's your 33701 weekly update of all the latest listings that are hitting the market. And you can drive them to this page every week. You could have a link to this at the bottom of your email signature. You know, you can do mailers, direct mail, or run ads that tell people to come here to get their market update, to get a glimpse of the market in the area. So just by show of hands, who knew about this and who didn't, if you guys want to chat in. My guess is a lot of people didn't know this is here, but there's lots of uses. And the way that you kind of get these configured and added is under Web and IDX right here. And then website content. I'm gonna get myself in trouble, Susan. Yeah, website content. And then over on the left side right here, you'll see your service areas and SEO. And you have the ability to kind of click the add here. And I believe you can add everything at once, right, Susan? The first time you do it. I think you can add everything from the MLS, or you can just add areas one at a time. Now, whether or not you add them to this section, when you add them to this section, it kind of creates a link at the bottom of your KV Core website. Whether or not you add them here, you can still do that areas trick I mentioned. So you can still kind of put any city in here and it'll pop up. And Alex is confirming, yeah, you can just click add all the first time you do it. So
Ryan, when last do you have to ask permission of the other agency listings for that area page?
Well, no. The reason is that this is following any IDX agreements we have, you know, between you, your company, and the local MLS. So your KV Core website is following those standards, you know. So by linking to a list of listings, you are not violating any terms. But you can double check. I mean, to my knowledge, Susan, there's nowhere where that's not allowed, but double check with your broker if you want to. What's different, you know, with respect to that question is if you were to say, hey, if you were to go run an ad for 753 Scotland, it's not your listing, you know, and you run a Facebook ad for it, that's a little bit of a gray area because it's not your listing, you know, without giving the listing agent permission. Perhaps in some MLSs you might be covered, you know, if you're driving traffic to the page, but I would definitely not do that without permission. Okay, so can you do counties? Good question. Let me just check. I think maybe. I'm just putting my county in here and see what happens. Huh, it didn't work for my county. You just try it out though. It may be different by.
It depends because I think you can also like do a neighborhood.
Yeah,
Down there. I think you can do MLS areas, counties, neighborhoods, and then cities, townships, depending on which one you have in your area.
Yeah, I'm not sure why my county's not popping up, but go ahead and try that. I would assume it would work. Here you can see all these different neighborhoods popping up.
And you should be able to pop to one of those. Like you should be able to, yeah.
Yeah.
But you should be able to go straight to that too.
Yeah. Yeah, that worked. I don't know why the county is not working.
I like that you have the same listing for the most popular, most expensive, and least expensive on that page.
Well, I've never heard of this neighborhood. So, you know, a lot of this is going to be what the MLS is pulling in as attached to the area. In some urban areas, you know, there's things that are called neighborhoods. You could live in the neighborhood and you not even know what it's called. Okay. So these pages exist. That's the big That's the big thing. Now you noticed before that I had my stuff on top. So, and the stuff I had on top was I went ahead and embedded a YouTube video, and I embedded the instant valuation tool. So my video offers people the chance to get a full detailed home value report for this area if they text one of my KV Core text codes. So if I send people here once a week or once a month, and I say, hey, come and check out the latest going on in the market in Gulfport, I can have a message up here that I can change from week to week or whatever that kind of tries to engage and capture more leads. So the way that I set this up, we'll go back to this Web and IDX, we go to the content, we go to the service areas and SEO section, and you'll notice here that right here in the middle where it says page text, we have this box, and that's where you can put HTML or plain text in. So I have a little HTML, I have my embed code from YouTube, and then I have my embed for my find your property value right here. And the way I got that, I mentioned we were going to deep dive on embeds. Right in this section, if I click embeds up here, I have the seller valuation tool right here. So I basically copied and pasted this section into my areas page, into that top section of the area page. So, oh, I thought hitting the back button would do that, but it didn't work out. Let's see, site content, listing pages, service areas, and SEO. So I pasted my embed right here. You can do the same thing with the search widget. But in this example, if I want people to find the value of their house and use the seller valuation tool, it seemed like a logical thing to put there. You're welcome to put whatever you want HTML-wise at the top of those pages. Yeah, so Evelyn's loving this. She's a geek. Yeah, this is a little geeky, right? But it's kind of like a hidden thing that's, I think, is pretty cool. It's not used very often, but the way I would do it is I would now come in here to my Smart CRM. So I've got this page set up, and let's go to Smart Campaigns. And I should have a seller nurture. I don't remember I have one for my home value reports. But let's say I'm generating a lot of home value requests. So I have this home value reports campaign right here, right? I have a couple of tasks in there. And what I can do is I can add a template, an email that goes out. So I'm going to create the template. Gulfport update, weekly Gulfport market update. And I could add this template one time and say, hi, here's your, click here to access your weekly Gulfport market update, which includes all the latest new listings and other fun data, right? And then I would link here to this page, this area page link. So I highlight it, I use the little chain there. Thanks. I'm doing this really quickly, guys, but I would add the template. And then I can send that same template. This is kind of what I'm trying to show here. We'll go to our home value report leads. And I'm in the campaign. Oops. I'm in the company campaign. Let's see. It's mine. There we go. Here's one that I can add actions to. And I can say, add that email. Gulfport update. And I can add that on day 7, day 14. I can send the same email once a week, is the point I'm trying to make. So I can go through and just send the same template, and the data will always be up to date. By the way, that same technique will work for any of your squeeze pages because it'll always show all the latest listings that are available. So that's just one possible use.
Rebecca asked if it's the same content that we send in a market report.
It's similar, but there's a few different things here. We don't tend to talk about these very often. I kind of like these better because I have the ability to customize the top of them. Just that, that's kind of where I'm going with this. I have the ability to put some HTML up top here. I think some of the same data is in the market reports. There might be a little more or less on either of these.
I think the market report is just a little bit more personalized, but it's still basically the same content. It's just given to your lead in a more personalized fashion, whereas this is not personalized at all, right?
Right, this is a general link you can use. Yeah, And another way you might use this is you might say, hey, now I'll go build a landing page that offers this, right? So I can go here and I can set my URL after login, would be my areas page. See a complete, Gulfport. Get a weekly list of the latest properties, for sale properties or something, and other stats. And then I might set my background. I might put like a picture of the area as my background. I can do that under the custom background section. And then this way you would generate leads first, and then it would redirect over to that page where they can see the info. So see this week's update. Now, these kind of landing pages are interesting because they're kind of opting in to get something from you every week. So let's grab a listing.
Do you have time to show how to do a custom background on one of those landing pages?
Yep, I'll do it right now. So let's get really jiggy with it. So I could grab one of these houses, but let's go to let's have some fun. Let's go to maps.google.com. Type in the city. Well, I'm here, so it just came up. But let's take a screenshot of this. I kind of like the terrain view a little more. So I'm going to screenshot this, right? Save that image. And what I need to do is get this image into a URL format. So if I click custom background, it wants a URL. I'm going to use Kelly Bojarski's hack for this, for uploading an image. There's lots of ways you can get an image online, but I like her hack where you go to it and you add a blog post. I don't know if you've seen this, Susan. But we're going to use the blog post uploader. We're not actually going to create a blog post, but I'm clicking to upload an image. This will make sense in a second, guys. And then KV Core will show me the URL. Oh my goodness. You see this, Susan? Who did that? Somebody squashed my fun.
Of course it's too big. I think that Shane Reiser showed me this originally. So
all right.
We need when it worked.
We need to get the image online another way. I've used Imgur in the past. I haven't done this in a while. I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole here, guys. New post. We're going down a rabbit hole. You need to get the image online and have it generate a URL. So hopefully this will allow this to happen. Can I right click? Yes. So right after I upload it, I can right click and copy the image address. And in theory, if I go back here and I click custom background and I put that URL in, let's hope it works. Boom. There's my background. So I don't know that Imgur, I'm pretty sure they saved that image forever, that URL. For those of you who have your own servers or like a WordPress website, you can upload it there. I'll talk to our team. It'd be nice if it was a little more than 2 megabytes. Maybe we can make that 5, because in most cases 5 should be plenty. Two's kind of borderline. And I know why we did that. We did that because it speeds up the whole platform for everybody, but it wasn't always there. But that's how you do it. Looks pretty cool, right? You could also just take a primary MLS image. So you could just pop an MLS number in for a listing that's in the area, and it'll be there. Kelly, yeah, it's being recorded. It's actually being live streamed, so it'll automatically be on our YouTube channel, as Susan just said. So it's already there. But yeah, it makes a pretty cool looking page, right? Just grab the street view of your area, and it's kind of fun. So yeah, so in this case, we used a landing page to give away, kind of tease that update. We're going to send it once a week, and then we're going to redirect to our area page. And then we're going to set up a smart campaign. If you guys are all following my train of thinking there, and that smart campaign can just automatically send that. Or, better would be is if you actually record a local market update every week. And that's something that I've shown in the past and done webinars about, where you could actually use the content on these area pages. So I'm going to go back here. And in theory, I could pull out my Screencast-O-Matic, right? My screencasting software, I use Screencast-O-Matic, you might use Loom, whatever you use. And I could put myself on camera and say, hey, Ryan here with your weekly Gulfport market update, right? And I could just look at the stuff here and talk. So I could say, oh, so this week's most popular listing is 2601 46th Street South. It was actually around the corner for me. Didn't know that was for sale. Our most expensive listing is 1614 61st Street. Our least expensive is this. If you're thinking about, if you own a house in Gulfport and you're curious about what the value might be, you see that your neighbor's houses are selling for crazy numbers, go ahead and use the form at the top of the page there, and or the form below me, and get your instant valuation. And in theory, you could just swap that video out every week for your latest market update. I have this generic one up here. So just lots of possibilities. Everybody's always asking, how do I get more seller leads? You may have heard me and Brian Hoyleman talk about it. Well, people aren't sellers, they're homeowners, they're renters, right? They're homeowners or renters. And for my money, growing a list of people who are tuned into your weekly or monthly update about the market, if you're doing a real video and you're talking intelligently about what's going on in the marketplace, and you're using data like this, you're using some of the stuff KV4 is providing you, that's the way to get listings, right? That's kind of the modern way. It's attraction marketing. You're not directly saying, hey, do you want to sell your property now? Because most people don't. And if they do, they're already calling the agent who's top of mind, in their heads that has already done this work, or that they know through a friend or a relative. This is by doing this sort of thing week after week, you build that top of mind status. And then when they're ready to sell, they reach out to you. So Dawn's asking if using that map from Google is a copyright issue. Man, I don't know the answer, but I've been doing it.
Actually, she's right. I just Googled it while I read it and you were talking. Basically, it says they don't approve if you do it. It's probably kind of the way everybody was using background music on their YouTube videos. And then when you get caught, you're told you have to take it down.
I would be shocked if it's not, the reason I say I'd be shocked, it's not being directly used for commercial.
Right. It's not being used in that aspect.
You're not selling it, you're not selling the functionality of it. I guess that way, or you're not putting it in an app. They have an API thing that they like people to pay for, I think, at high volumes. But you're not even embedding this. You're just creating an image of it and then hosting the image outside of Google. So
it says they just require proper attribution while the content is shown. So
do your own.
Have the little Google thing on the side and.
Yeah, definitely. Or get the Google screenshot in there. See it at the bottom.
Alex asked if you can draw a polygon for area reports. So polygons are coming to market reports. This is another one of those where we had priorities of what we really want to make sure is done before the end of the year. And I think that I think area reports will probably slide into like early January. Maybe even later than that, because that's something that admittedly it keeps getting pushed.
So we're talking about the market report here and then the ability to draw a polygon right here. Is that
yep.
Okay. Yeah, so you guys, we do have the ability to do a market report squeeze. I think it always requires the opt-in though, doesn't it? Can I just create a market report? Yeah, you do have to opt in.
I can't just go see that market report. I have to register as lead. I can't just peek and go away. I have to register.
But these area pages kind of give you a way around that. That's probably why I eventually went that direction. But that would be a good idea too, Susan. Well, let's do polygons here, but let's also allow the link. We could set the opt-in rules the same way we do on our regular multi-property, and we could just set. We could just set never require opt-in so people can see the report. That would be useful, I think.
Anthony asked if you can delete a service area and then reset that back to your original settings of towns.
Yeah, let me take a look. Can you delete one at a time? So I think you hit the X right here on the right.
Yeah, you hit the X and you can delete just the one. Sometimes if you want to just restore it back to your original, it's easier there's a button at the top that says remove all from list. And if you hit that, it gets rid of everything. And then that green button turns into add everything from the MLS. So once you've removed everything, then it'll let you add everything back just the way your MLS says it. Is there anywhere we can see the analytics on these pages?
So not within the system, but Google Analytics is your friend. So, and Google Analytics, that's kind of a topic for another session. I should do a Google Analytics session, but you could probably search any URL that has areas in it in your Google Analytics and quickly see the count. That would be the best way. I don't think we're, now that I think about it, Susan, we're not showing analytics on page views anywhere, are we? Currently.
No, we don't have that in a reportable format to give it back to people yet. So I think that we rely heavily on you can use Google Analytics to look at your information.
We're never going to be able to build something as robust as Google Analytics.
Right.
So, you know,
it would be like recreating the wheel, and they're already on like turbojet plane wheels, and we would be creating the wood wheel.
Yeah. So to add Google Analytics, I think it's in the website settings. Do I have that right? I'm forgetting.
Yeah, it used to be almost at the bottom, but now I think it's
in here somewhere.
If you just do a Control F on the page for analytics, we'll find it.
I'm going to do it the way we want everybody to do it. I'm going to search our article base. So I'm going to just type analytics, and it should pop up a nice. Oh, it's showing all our Google Analytics. Here we go, Google.
I think it's in website settings.
This wasn't as easy as I thought it would be.
No, this is really helpful for me to see, though.
Yeah, let's get an easy to find article about where to put the Google Analytics, but it should be on this page. I probably just scrolled way too fast. I go slower. It's in here somewhere. I've seen it. So we'll probably I'll do a Google Analytics session on the 4 o'clock webinars, 4 o'clock East, that we do Monday through Thursday. I'll try to get that done in the next few week or two. You can see here where it says analytics actually in the left column. So if I click that, there we go. And then you can put your ID in there, which I haven't, but I should. So yeah, you can put that in there. I use Google Analytics for a bunch of other stuff, but yeah. But yeah, and then you can definitely search, and Google Analytics, man, there's really interesting stuff you could do. You know, you could set a goal that says, hey, if somebody visits an area page, I want to know if they visit that, if they end up, you know, visiting the cell page, for example.
The other thing, I was on with somebody and they were showing me all their data from people. He thought everybody was visiting his page from mobile, and everybody, like 90% of his views were all from other users that are on website. And then it even gave him breakdown in, like, most of them were Chrome, and then the rest of them were Safari, and maybe a couple of people using other things. But I thought that level of detail is really good, because he was focused on a lot of mobile stuff, and nobody's looking at his site on mobile. So why waste your time there?
Yeah.
Evelyn, is there any way we can see that? How did you get to this? It's under Web and IDX, and then you go to
Edit settings.
And I think it was about halfway down now, right? Analytics.
Yeah, you can just click the analytics and it'll pop you there.
Oh, it's funny that they put that easy button there for us, and you and I both skip seeing it. Oops.
Yep. So that's the area pages, guys. You know, lots of ways to use those. I also had embeds on the list here. There's not really a lot to these. I just want to kind of highlight that they're there, because I think a lot of people don't notice them. And I think another interesting thing about embeds, and I'm going to do something that kind of, maybe I don't want to, but I've been recommending that people actually consider not buying our WordPress plugin. You know, we have an available WordPress plugin. If you have a really sophisticated WordPress page and you want to integrate your IDX, your KV Core IDX into your WordPress site, great. But that requires a fair amount of effort, you know, a little extra expense, you know, paying for the WordPress plugin token from us, you know, using a developer to get that done. And I've been telling people, hey, consider just using these embeds on your third-party website, because it's going to get you where you want to be for the most part. And that is, you want to have a property search on your site. And what the embeds allow you to do is a number of things. So you can create QR codes here. You can embed the property search in the sidebar of your website. So if you have a WordPress website, for example, and you have the sidebar, you see you can put the property search right there with an iframe. So instead of going through all the gobbledygook with the WordPress plugin, you simply put this here. Admittedly, it will pop people over to your KV Core website when they submit the search, but you're really going to be the only person who realizes that's happening. The actual consumer, assuming that you maybe keep your color schemes the same on both sites, so it doesn't feel too disorienting when they jump out, they're not going to really notice that they're not self-searching with you, so to speak. So just know this is available. If you have a third-party site, you can put your property search on it. The other thing, you have a website embed widget here that's not a sidebar, but it's up top or at the bottom, right? So you can put the whole search functionality directly in your website. So if you have a WordPress site, you have like the home page with one of those themes, and you want to put a whole section that's search, you can do that as well. And then the last one is the seller valuation, which you saw me using on that area page right under here. So you can put that on your site. And another place I've been putting that is somewhere where we can all put it. If you guys notice down in my footer here, it says check your home's value now. So whenever somebody's scrolling through, I included that in the footer of my KV Core site. And the way that I got that done, pretty simple. You can all do this now, pretty easy. You just go to the seller valuation tool, copy this code, and then we'll go back to our web and IDX editor screen that we were just on. I'm going to go for Google Analytics, so we'll go to edit settings. And if I scroll down to my footer box, so see my custom footer right here? That's where I pasted that. And I just put a little bit of a check your home's value now, pop your email in the box below, above it. So I just wrote a little text. I have an H2, little HTML, but it's just a little header line there. You can copy mine if you want, just the H2 with the carets. If you don't know HTML, it's pretty simple. And then I pop it in. And then now whenever somebody's scrolling through my site, they get to the bottom and they have the ability to check their home value. So just a little tip, trick, tactic. Most useful, of course, if you have third-party websites, but there are places within your KV Core site itself that you might decide you want to place the embeds, such as on the area page here. Sound good, guys? Did I go too fast, Susan? I know I do that sometimes.
I think we were fast this time, but I think we kept up with everybody on the side. So
Sean says repeat it.
Says, hey, can you repeat that?
All right. So basically you have these embeds, right? So you have these embed codes. They're under Web and IDX. I'll just do it really quickly. And you could grab the code for them right here. You can basically copy and paste these gobbledygook looking scripts right here. Right. So you can copy and paste that, and you can put it anywhere. You can put it on third-party sites. The hack that I'm using was I put my seller valuation thing both on my areas page here in that custom HTML, and I also put it in my footer down at the bottom of the site. And the way I got it down here in the footer was I went to the website settings page. And again, you guys will have the replay. You can slow me down on YouTube by clicking the gear at the bottom of YouTube at the bottom right. You can change the speed. But I just scroll down here to the footer section and I embedded my seller code. So right here in the footer. All right. All right. Yeah, I go and I like these sessions personally because we are kind of riffing. We're not these are a little more advanced. We assume you guys have been using the system a little bit. So sometimes I'm like, yeah, just go to the web settings. Of course, you know where that is. But I realize some of you guys might be just coming on. So I apologize for that. So yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah, slow me down on YouTube. Any videos you're watching from our training team in general, we like to just mention this. You know, if we go to the courses page, for example, here, just highlight this for you guys under support and training. We got lots of good stuff here, but any videos you see from us, in most cases, unless you're on Facebook, I think, you can speed up and slow down the content. Yeah. So yeah, Mahaya's saying she's new in August. Only thing I would say is if you're totally new, don't let me distract you from things that'll really make you money. Because we go off on tangents. There's so many different things we can play with, but the basics, definitely get through the agent quick start and focus on getting one lead source. It could be from our marketplace. It could be stuff you're doing on your own. It could be open houses. It could be Zillow or realtor.com, dare I say. Focus on getting one traffic source coming into KV Core consistently and making sure all the automations are set up properly to handle that source. And that information you'll find in the quick start. Where's the advanced course? Chris is like, where's he? I know you, Chris wants to go another couple of levels. We'll get to that. Come to the 4 o'clock session, guys. We generally get a little more jiggy with those 4 o'clock East. And to plug that, I think Heather will be on today. I can't make today's, but Heather will be on at 4 p.m. and Heather's got great stuff usually in 15 minutes. If you guys want to hop on that. And the link to that always is at the top right of your main dashboard. You can go right to the training calendar page, pick your time zone, and find all these sessions. Chris, I might have to have you on. I'd be curious to hear about all the wackiness you're up to. Maybe we'll do a next level together. But yeah, we've all got 100 different hacks and ways to go about this stuff. I just like to say, hey, if you're new, don't let us distract you. Just put this information in the back of your head and then use it later. Yeah.
I think to Chris's point, I didn't mean to blow you off. So I hope it wasn't taken that way, but like, this is the advanced stuff, right? Is these sessions, the afternoon sessions at 4 o'clock Eastern, because this is where you get to really ask all these questions and get to the nitty gritty of it. And we don't really have advanced sessions in Thinkific or in our learning portal right now, because we really just want to get you going and then come over here and talk to us about what's going on, because those sessions are meant for just standard here. This is how you get started with the system. But Ryan's sessions are more flexible with what's going on with the market, what people are experiencing, what's happening with what you need to do because, Facebook changed something, and that kind of information we can never put out into a recorded portal type format, Yeah,
it's tips and tricks from day to day. I will say that some of this next level stuff is now available to everybody if you guys want to poke around that in the courses section. So there's some of that there in the course runner. Great, but I think we have a question. Is there a way to promote a sold listing? Kathy, I would use a landing page for that, maybe, or a blog post or a custom page. So you might either of those three. So you might go to the blog section.
What if you boosted a manual listing?
I forgot you could do that too. To promote a sold. Yeah. So a few things you could do with sold listings. One, you could just create a blog post about it and say, hey, I just sold XYZ. If you want to find the value of your house, click here. So you give information about what you sold, what the price was or not. If you want to know the price, text me, right? However you want to do it. You could also build a landing page that says, just sold 123 Main Street. I'm going to go a little fast here just to give you guys a few ideas, but, just sold 123 Main Street. Main Street. Now, what you might find, people might not opt in to get the price. You could try getting them to opt in to find out the price. I might do something like the address capture version here. Thinking on my feet here, but you can go to the address capture. Just sold 123 Main Street, 975,000. Right? See how much. Enter your address below. To see how much yours might be worth. So this would be like an interesting way. And then you could put in a picture of the just sold as the background, and then they would enter their address to get their value. So that's another kind of idea. As Susan said, we do now have in Property Boost the ability to advertise just solds. I almost forgot that was there. Is that what you were saying, Susan, or was it something else?
Yep. So go in Property Boost and then go to, My Listings, and you can look at your manual listings will show up there now.
Cool. So you can boost manuals.
So you can boost a manual listing.
But check it out. Just sold.
If you have sold data, then your solds will show too.
So you can do a Property Boost for just solds. I would definitely, in this market, especially with things being so inflated, I know it's softening a little, but every sold you should be out there showing the neighbors what it sold for, because that's going to be the biggest thing that gets somebody to say, oh, well, honey, maybe we should sell now, right? People are starting to feel the top of the market effect and starting to think if this does come back down, we're going to lose our opportunity to cash out.
Right.
So any just sold definitely makes sense to advertise.
Just asked if you use your hijack bridge page for anything cool.
No, I wish it wasn't there, honestly. This was all the rage in when we built the landing page thing, when Justin from Conversion, when he built this page, this was a big thing that was floating around internet marketing circles, where you would kind of put an offer in front of another offer. So it says you up here, it says URL you want, URL they want. So you could, I don't know. No, I haven't used it for anything cool. And in my experience, it doesn't convert as good as just sending people straight to an offer. Like you're interrupting the thing they were going there for. Right. So let's try to give this some context. Let's say that we were advertising a specific listing. And you would pop this page, say, before we look at that listing, would you like to know your home's value? Sure. And then our button might say, sure, show me. Right. And then the link underneath says, no thanks, take me to what I wanted. So this link would be the initial listing you were sending them to. And then this link would take them to the page, the URL where they get their home value. So Chris, maybe I partially answered your question. That might be something, some way to do that. An example of how you might do that. Yeah. So I'm just looking at the chat. It needs to be your listing or your agency's listing.
Yeah, Rosalind asked if you can boost properties that you had the buyer for, as long as the listing agent is in your agency. But if it's not your listing or your broker's listing, you can't boost it. Yeah,
but I would defer, you know, some states are more, I would just defer to your broker's policies on those. I believe, I don't know about boasting, but I actually asked my broker just a couple of weeks ago, coincidentally, I was like, we're allowed to send just sold postcards if we had the buy side, right? She's like, absolutely you can. So I would ask my broker, because they're the ones who've got the legal exposure. So, you know, I checked with her, but I don't know about actually running the ad.
I don't know that you can property boost in air quotes. I don't know that, because I think when you go there, it only shows
you can pick anything
listings associated with your ID or your broker's ID, right? Like if I want to show 123 Main Street that just sold for $975, if it's not, I don't think it'll show in there.
Oh, it won't show as a sold listing. Is that what you mean?
I don't think so.
Well, we'll have to figure out more details on this. My understanding, Susan, is that you can actually just pick any listing. So.
Oh, cool. Okay.
But I might
then,
be.
Yeah, you just need to know your regulations.
Yeah, that was on the listing side. But as Susan's saying, just we're giving you the tool. How you use the tool is on you. That's the way. You know, don't get yourself in trouble based on anything I say. I mean, look at me. You know, like no, don't listen. It's like all the trader. If you ever watch videos about finances or money on YouTube, they always start by saying, I am not a financial advisor. Don't take our advice on whether or not you can advertise a listing. All right, tangent, Susan. I'm getting tired. How about you?
That works for me, yeah. Like, we talked about a lot today.
We did a lot. I think we're gonna call it a day, guys.
Chris does wake up.
I'm waking up. Thank you for all the great questions. As always, the recording will be on our YouTube channel. Again, for those of you who are just hopping into KV Core and this felt like a fire hose, we do have our daily, kind of like a weekly rolling boot camp. That's our quick start sessions. You can advertise all those links from the main dashboard right here, the view live training calendar, and under our support and training, make sure you do the quick start course just so you're familiar with the basics. So thanks everybody. Thanks for your help, Susan.
Did you show people how to slow down your YouTube speed?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Show that real quick. And I don't think you showed it in this one. I always forget, like you usually show it. And a lot of people don't know that you can change the speaker's voice. I usually speed things up, but for Ryan's, you can slow it down and make him speak slower.
So if you're talking right here and you hit playback speed, you can slow it down, and you can also make it talk really fast so your brain compresses things you're saying really quickly. So like that. So the gear at the bottom right, guys.
Ryan times 2. What's the link to our YouTube channel again?
So insiderealestate.com/YouTube. We've got a quick easy link for that. Just drop it there. Not texting. Yeah.
No, Ryan does not have any drawl at all. None.
New Jersey in the house. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. We'll see you on this session next Wednesday, but definitely catch us on the other sessions you'll find on the calendar in the meantime.
Thanks, everybody.
See you later.